Mr. Speaker, can the Prime Minister confirm that next year, according to the Institute of Fiscal Studies, as a result of his economic policy, the poorest third of families will lose 3 times as much as the richest third?
No, his figures are wrong. If you take all the things that the government has done, which is the right way to measure this, what you find is that the top 10% see losses nearly 10 times greater than the bottom 10%. And I believe that is fair. And I believe the point that hasn't been properly understood, but is important, is if you take the richest 10% in our country, they not only see the biggest reduction in their income in cash terms, they also see the biggest reduction of their income proportionately. So we are being fair. It's incredibly difficult to deal with the debts and the deficit that the honourable gentleman and his party left behind, but we're determined to do it in a way that's fair.
Miliband. Mr. Speaker, he's simply wrong again. The figures are there. The figures are there. The figures are there, and the poorest third are losing far more than the richest third. And of course, he used to say, I'm not going to balance the budget on the backs of the poor. He's not balancing the budget. No, he's right. He's not balancing the budget, Mr. Speaker. 158 billion pounds more borrowing. But he is hitting the poor. Now, Mr. Speaker, but there is one group to give him credit that he's easing the pain for. And I don't think, Mr. Speaker, this has got the publicity it deserves. He's delaying for a year the tax on the private jets, Mr. Speaker, at the same time as hitting the poorest families in this country. Now, can he confirm that a working mother earning £300 a week is seeing VAT going up, her tax credits cut, child benefit frozen, and her maternity grant cut?
He had 13 years to tax private jets. We would have... And now former Labour leaders are jetting around in them. We will have taxed them in 2 years. He quotes the Institute for Fiscal Studies. Let me remind him what the Institute for Fiscal Studies said about Labour's plans specifically. Labour's policies would lead to, and I quote, even higher debt levels over this Parliament. They don't, I know, Mr. Speaker, they don't like to hear it when their own policies are taken apart. Calm down. They don't like to hear it.
What I simply say to everybody is I want to get down the order paper. If the Prime Minister wants to give a brief answer, let it be brief. Let's hear it.
And let me just explain what the IFS said. His plans imply even higher debt levels over this Parliament than those we will in fact see. That is the truth of it. If you want the stimulus we're giving the economy by low interest rates, you have to stick to the plans we've set out. There is not a party in Europe, apart from the Moldovan communists, that back his party's plans.
Miliband. Mr. Speaker, now I've heard everything. He's talking about a stimulus. He doesn't understand. He's cutting too far and too fast. And that's why we've got problems in our economy. But of course, he doesn't want to tell us what the IFS say about his plans. He's the Prime Minister, after all, Mr. Speaker. The new tax and benefit measures are, on average, a takeaway from lower-income families with children. The figures speak for themselves. His changes are hitting women twice as hard as men. Isn't the truth that he's the first Prime Minister in modern times to say it's the women and children first?
I have to say, his sound bites get weaker and weaker as his leadership gets weaker and weaker. That is the truth of it. If you look at what we have done, lifting 1.1 million people out of tax, that is mostly women that benefit. If you look at the increase in the pension, £5.35 starting next April, that will benefit mostly women. If you take the issue of public sector pensions, where we're helping the lowest paid in the public sector, that will help women. Yes, we are giving the economy a stimulus by keeping our interest rates low. We have interest rates at 2%, while they're at 5% in Italy, 5% in Spain, 30% in Greece. If we followed his advice, we'd have interest rates rocketing, businesses going bust, more people out of work. That is what Labour offer, and that's why they will never be trusted with our economy again.